there is an interface object in the system, and we can use this object in order to select certain records from the database and then process them. So this first portion of the interface object macro commands allowed us to call the corresponding interface screens, data grids, or data updating screens. For example, if we use this account macro command and then run by using F8 key, the chart of account screen will appear and the user can select records from this list. And notice that if we choose one of these records, for example, this one, 1230, here in the result field, we can see 50, which is the number of unique identifier of the selected record. Now let's run again to make sure that it's correct number. So here in the style menu, let's make number of unique identifier visible. And as we can see, 50 the ID number of the account 1230. But if we need to choose multiple records at once and then process them with the macro, these data grid commands have a parameter whether or not to choose multiple records. So in order to select multiple records at once, we should pass through. And now if we run by using F8 key and choose multiple records in this data grid, like this, for example, we'll see here in the result field the ID numbers of the selected records separated by commas. And these interface object macro commands, like business object data grid macro commands, contain sorting tools, and SQL standards are used in these tools as well. So here in this parameter, we should put commands based on SQL standards, or we can pass these commands from the data grid screens. For example, here in the sort menu, let's sort by name, by type. We can sort type in reverse order as well, and so on. Now this SQL command is here. We can pass it. So let's copy and paste it here. And if we run, we'll see that these records are sorted according to the macro command. And the first parameter of this macro is selected ID. This is the unique identifier of the record that we want to be selected automatically from the data grid. For example, if we want to use this macro in order to select account, let's say 1290, automatically from this data grid, we should pass its ID number 51 as a first parameter. Then run, and as we can see, account 1290 is selected automatically from this list. and the second parameter is a filter. Here, as in case of the business object, the filter should be written using the SQL standard. We can call the data grid screen and process of programming, apply filter here, and then pass it to the macro. So let's filter, for example, by count, like count contains, let's say, 22, or contains also 11. We're able to apply more complicated filters. Now we can copy the SQL command to the clipboard, as we did in case of the business object filter, and then paste it here as a second parameter. And if we run, we'll see that this screen is filtered as we specified in the macro. But if the user wants to look at this filter, he can only see SQL command here, and it may not be clear how it was filtered. That's why we recommend you to use the XML command instead of the SQL command. So let's filter again in the same way. Count contains 22 or contains 11. And let's use this XML command in this case, which includes not only SQL command but also the other information. Now let's copy this command to the clipboard by using this first drop-down menu and paste it here in the macro as a second parameter. This command is long enough, but in this case, the user will be able to view this filter here on this screen. And the interface object contains also macros which allow us to add information to the interface screen or update this information. For example, we have here macros like account update, acceptance operation update, as well as transaction update, and so on. And we can use these macros to update corresponding interface screens. Now let's use, for example, account update macro. It has the second parameter, account ID. We can put the number of the account ID if we want to update account, but if we pass 0 as a second parameter, then this macro will call new account screen, which allows us to add new account in this case. So let's run by using F8 key. And we can see this new account screen, of course, and the parent account field is empty here because the second parameter has not been passed. Now let's pass ID number of the account, let's say 1110. As far as I remember, this number is 46. Let's run by using F8 key, And as we can see here, the new account is added to the account 1110. We can put the account name here. And if we press save button, we'll see the number of the unique identifier of the new account and the result field. And then we can use this number in order to update this account and so on. And in the same way, we can use the other interface object macros. For example, this one, transaction update. We can use this macro to add or update accounting transactions. It has its own parameters, and you can look at these parameters here. If we pass the number of the transaction ID 0 and run by using F8 key, we can see a new transaction screen. And if we fill out this screen, like this, for example, and save this transaction, then here in the result field, we can see the number of unique identifier of this transaction.